Chapter 7. Blizzard Conditions. That afternoon, Noah met Ella and Richie inside the zoo entrance, beside the water fountain. The weather was unusually cold for October. Ella wore fluffy pink earmuffs that looked like big globs of cotton candy stuck to her ears. Richie wore his favorite winter hat, a stocking cap with a ribbed cuff and a large red pom-pom on top. The pom-pom shook whenever Richie moved. "You guys ready for this?" Noah asked. Ella winked and smiled at Noah. Richie nodded his head and his pom-pom. Ella said, "Let's check out that note again, the one the birds gave you." They found a private spot beneath a tree. Noah opened the crumpled paper and the three children focused on the page. The writing started in the middle of a sentence and the middle of a thought, as it did on the note that Mr. Talltail had given him. "Too much going on. Too much I don't understand. I'm so confused. I've been investigating the underwater tunnel at the polar pool in Arctic Town. The lady who works there always watches me as if she suspects something. It's creepy. She always asks if I'm with my parents, and I just say yes." Ella turned to Noah and asked, "Did you know she was coming here?" "Nuh-uh. Those piano lessons she was taking with Miss Courtney, you know, the ones over the summer. I bet if we check into that—" Ella stopped herself, realizing that she was about to call Megan a liar. Noah finished her thought, saying, "I bet she can't even play chopsticks." They exchanged a knowing look and turned their attention back to Megan's note. "Anyway, I need to get home. Noah's probably home already, and I'm supposed to be there. I'll tell him and the other scouts about this soon, but right now they'd probably think I'm crazy. All for now, Megan. P.S. Almost forgot. I have to remember to watch the polar bears when the zoo starts to close. They get real active. It's best to watch them from the glass tunnel, especially around the polar pool's curves and corners. I know I saw light coming—" The writing ended. Noah turned the paper over. The second side was too smeared to read anything except a few lines. "Only has two polar bears, Frosty and Blizzard. But if I saw what I think I saw, this whole thing is getting really weird. For a second I saw three bears. Is that possible? That was the end of the back of the page. Richie said, "Wait, the zoo only has two polar bears." "Yeah," Noah said, "and it's only supposed to have 50 birds, not thousands." The scouts stood together in silence. The wind blew Megan's note, making it flutter and snap in Noah's hand. "This is real, isn't it?" Ella asked. "Yeah," Noah said, "this is really happening." "Come on," Richie said as he settled the wiggly pom-pom on his cap. His voice sounded unusually courageous. "Let's go to the tunnel and see how many bears we find." They turned and headed deeper into the zoo. Arctic Town was an area of the zoo designed to look like a cold Arctic landscape. From the concession stands to the restrooms, all the buildings were shaped like igloos. Plastic icicles dangled from every ledge. Sheets of plastic ice lay across the sidewalks, and signs cautioned visitors, "Watch for ice on path." The design had a cool effect in winter, but a rather lame one in summer. Could children believe it was cold when snow cones were melting down their fingers? In no time, the scouts reached the polar pool. Set on an icy-looking landscape, the exhibit had a long, winding in-ground pool. A flight of narrow stairs descended 20 feet into the earth and led to a glass-walled underwater tunnel, which reached across the middle of the pool. "Let's go," Noah said. They rushed down the stairs and stepped into a glass room that looked into the pool. Though this room had a spectacular view, the real attraction was the tunnel. It started at the room they were in, snaked through the water, and opened into a second glass room at the other end, which was barely visible from here. It was like a hamster's plastic tunnel, but 1,000 times larger. The scouts strolled into the tunnel. They felt as if they were walking directly into the pool. Inside the tunnel, they joined a bunch of kids who were watching Blizzard. The bear was trying to sink an orange barrel with his thick legs, which moved sluggishly through the water. He was enormous. After a while, Frosty started to wrestle with Blizzard. A few minutes passed, and Blizzard swam over the tunnel, casting his shadow over the visitors beneath him. He planted his paw on the glass directly above Richie. It was bigger than Richie's head. The scouts stared into the tank, hoping to catch sight of something unusual. A third bear, perhaps, but they saw nothing. Noah suggested that it was too early for anything weird to happen. To kill time, they decided to leave the tunnel and have a snack at one of the igloo concession stands upstairs. On their way, Richie pretended to slip on a patch of fake ice that had spilled across the sidewalk. "Hey, guys," he called. "Whoa!" His arms flailed and the pom-pom on his cap wobbled. About 20 seconds into his routine, he lost his balance and crashed on his butt. "Richie," Ella said, "if you don't knock it off, we're going to put you in with the monkeys." Richie climbed to his feet and rubbed his sore rear end. After wasting an hour, they returned to the polar pool, made their way into the tunnel, and waited anxiously for something to happen. Before long, a lady announced through a loudspeaker that the zoo would close in 15 minutes. Parents collected their children and headed for the exit. Within minutes, the Action Scouts were the only ones left in the tunnel. "Megan said it happened late in the day," Noah said. "And that's when all that stuff with the birds happened to me." "Yeah," Ella said. Frosty and Blizzard swam at one end of the pool, their massive paws deftly slicing the water. "See anything unusual?" Noah asked. "Nuh-uh," Richie said. The three children stood with their faces pressed against the tunnel wall. Their breath clouded the glass. Silence hung in the air, and time passed. Then, out of nowhere, Richie said, "I got a joke." "What?" Ella moaned. "A joke. I got a joke." Without looking away from the pool, Noah said, "Go ahead." "Ready?" Richie asked. "For crying out loud," Ella said, "stalling isn't going to make it any funnier." Richie cleared his throat and said, "What's white and furry and shaped like a tooth?" "What's what?" "What's white and furry and shaped like a tooth?" "I don't know," Noah said. "What?" "A molar bear." No one laughed. Noah and Ella just stood and peered into the water. "A molar bear," Richie repeated. "Don't you guys get it?" "Of course we get it," Ella said. "We're just not 6 anymore." "Geez," Richie said. "I guess—" "Quiet," Noah said. "I see something." "What? Where?" Richie said. "Light. I saw light." Noah had seen a beam of light inside the pool, but it had come from the bottom of the tank. "I don't see anything," Ella said. "Where?" "It was out there, but only for a second." "A ray of light, just like the light that Megan described," Noah said. "You sure it wasn't coming from the sky?" Richie asked. "No, it wasn't." The next moment, the scouts heard a high-pitched sound coming from the room behind them, the room they'd entered the tunnel from. It sounded like a big metal door opening. They turned in the direction of the noise. "What was that?" Ella whispered. "I don't know," Noah said. "Maybe someone who works here." They pushed away from the glass and tried to act casual. Ella fluffed her ponytail and Richie ruffled the pom-pom on his cap. The scouts heard another high-pitched sound, followed by the sound of something slamming shut. "That's too loud to be a normal door," Richie whispered. Suddenly, through the layers of glass that formed the winding tunnel, the scouts saw movement. Something had entered the room, something big and white. From where she stood, Ella could see around the corner. A moment later, her face turned pale. Guys?" A new sound filled the exhibit. "Whew, whew." "What is it?" Noah said. Before she could reply, the head of a huge polar bear emerged at the opening of the tunnel. The bear snarled, swung its snout from side to side, and fixed its black eyes on the scouts. Noah tried to say something, but only a flat, meaningless sound came out. And the bear threw back its head and roared. Its tongue looked like a slab of meat. Its ivory fangs were razor sharp. Noah glanced into the pool. Only one bear was out there. It was Frosty, the smaller bear, which meant this was Blizzard. Somehow Blizzard had entered the tunnel. The scouts stood frozen in place. Noah's friends looked like statues with goofy headgear, one with fluffy earmuffs and the other with a stocking cap. Ella nervously broke the silence, whispering, "Hey, Richie, any good jokes we can tell it?" "Don't move," Noah warned. "Just keep perfectly still." Blizzard stepped out of the room and into the tunnel. Water dribbled off his fur and formed large puddles on the floor. He closed to within 10 feet of the children and rolled his daunting head. "The room behind us, it has an exit," Noah said. "Richie, can we run faster than this thing?" Ella whispered. "I don't know," he replied. Blizzard swung his head around at Noah and growled. Noah carefully eyed the bear. Suddenly, a strange calm swept over him. "Hold on a minute." He stepped forward and said cautiously, "Blizzard?" Hi." The bear inched down the tunnel. "What are you doing?" Ella asked. Noah reached out. His hand was trembling. "Shh, this will work," he said. Blizzard nudged his head against Noah's open palm. His fur was coarse, wet, and cold. He sniffed Noah's arm, and his coal-black nose left a wet spot on Noah's jacket. Noah realized how massive Blizzard was. His legs were like tree trunks, and his head was as big as a beach ball. Noah stroked Blizzard's crown as the bear sniffed his arm. "Blizzard," he said, "do you know who I am?" "I'm Noah," Blizzard growled softly. "It's okay, guys," Noah said. "He's here to help us, like the other animals." "This is crazy," Ella said. Ella and Richie crept forward. When they reached Blizzard, they gingerly placed their palms on his side. "What's going on?" Richie asked. "How can this be happening?" "I have no idea," Noah admitted. "How did he get in here?" "There's something in that first room, a door or something. Remember that noise we heard?" Noah said. "This is like a dream," Ella said. In a flash, the entrance door opened, and through the glass walls, Noah detected light from outside filling the staircase. A man was speaking. Yeah, right, I know. I gotta pick up the..." Noah could faintly see a zoo employee. He was propping the door open with his hip while he talked to another person nearby. Blizzard grunted and looked at the scouts. He dropped something from his mouth, a wadded-up ball of paper. Noah scooped it up. It was wet and gooey with spit. He crammed it into his pocket, and Blizzard thundered back down the tunnel. The floor quaked. "Need to pick up my toolbox," the zoo attendant was saying. "That's a big headache we got down there. We'll need to..." When Blizzard reached the end of the tunnel, he turned the corner and disappeared. Seconds later, the scouts heard the loud, high-pitched sound that they'd heard earlier. That was it then. Blizzard had entered the exhibit through some kind of secret door. "First, I gotta close up the tunnel," the man continued. "Let me do a walk-through real quick. I'll meet you on the platform." The door snapped shut. Through the glass, Noah saw the man approaching. "Don't say anything," Noah said. "If Blizzard doesn't trust this guy, we don't either." "Totally," Ella agreed. The man turned into the tunnel. When he saw the scouts, he waved his fingertips toward himself and said, "Let's go, kids. I gotta lock up this joint." "Isn't that late?" "Oh, it's that late already?" Noah asked casually. Yeah, zoo's closing. Come on, let's speed it up." As the children scurried around the zoo attendant, he glanced at the floor. "What's this?" he said. "The floor's soaked. What did you kids spill?" They stood in silence. stunned. The man lowered his eyebrows and said, "Oh, forget it. Come on now. The three of you, get." He accompanied them up the stairs. As the scouts were walking off, he said, "Wait." Noah turned his head and saw the man's finger pointed at him. "Don't I know you?" "Nuh-uh," Noah replied. "I'm sure I've seen you before." "I doubt it." Scratching his chin, the man looked him over. Finally he said, "Yeah, well, whatever. The three of you, get on now." As they hurried off, Ella said, "Noah, he knows who you are." "Yeah," Noah said, "and I'll bet you anything he knows who my sister is, too." They ran toward the zoo exit. Noah reached into his pocket to make sure the paper Blizzard had given him was still there. It was. That meant the scouts had more reading to do.